Texas A&M tight end Donovan Green went down with an ACL tear. What does this mean for the rest of the tight end room as we head into the 2023 season?
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, prayers go up to Donovan Green. I mean, this is just tragic. I made it very known that he was my breakout candidate. I thought he was going to put himself in prime position to be one of the best tight ends in college football this season, by the end of the season. So this is a tragic situation for an outstanding young man. So to Donovan Green, buddy, we're praying for you. Quick recovery. And, you got to take the positive for Donovan Green. He's still young. He can come back next year and get himself NFL ready, put up big numbers in 2024 with a more developed quarterback. He's going to be okay. Get healthy. Hate that for him because he was primed for a massive season. But the question is, what is the outlook for Texas A&M's tight end room now that Donovan Green is going to miss the 2023 season? Max Wright, I think his role to me, he's going to catch some passes. Last year, Max Wright, 9 for 129 and a touchdown. He's going to get receptions. He's going to get targets, and that's going to happen. But he is out there, veteran leadership, and he's out there to block as well. He has good hands. He can catch if he needs to. He can catch the football. But you have better weapons for catching the football. And that is why I think, I don't think Donovan Green's injury affects Max Wright. I think we know what we're getting from Max Wright, and I don't think that changes based off what he did, based off what happened with Donovan Green. I don't think Max Wright's role changes. I think that two players are going to be jolted into a bigger role, Jake Johnson and Theo. Jake Johnson last season only had 1 reception for 2 yards. Theo, of course, didn't record a single reception. You don't love this. I don't love not having an experienced room. And then, you look at it, okay, your next option is Jaden Platt, who has had a great fall, but he is a freshman. So, the question is going to be, who's going to step up and be that receiving tight end, be that safety blanket for Connor Wigman? I think it's going to be Jake Johnson. And to be brutally honest with you, I was high on Donovan Green. And once again, I hate this injury for him. It is horrendous. I know we all can agree on that. I just can't express how awful this is. I thought Donovan Green, was primed for a massive season. I think that him and Jake Johnson are both they were almost interchangeable. I liked Green a little bit better. That's why he was my guy instead of Jake Johnson. I've seen a lot of comments here on Locked On Aggies from you everydayers saying, we like Jake Johnson. We think Jake Johnson could have a big role and could have that breakout season. So the question is going to be, can Jake Johnson step into a bigger role and shine? And I think the answer is yes. I really do. I think it needs to be clear that, like I said, I was high on Donovan Green, but I think both of himself and Jake Johnson are talented tight ends that can get the job done. So it's you hate losing Donovan Green for whether it's for depth. Let's say Jake Johnson has a massive year, puts up huge numbers. You still are down a quality tight end in a league that you need depth. So you don't like losing Donovan Green. But I think Jake Johnson can come in and be another breakout candidate. I think, like I said, they're both great players. Both of them, I thought that Donovan Green was going to get the bulk of the snaps. That was just my opinion on the matter. Obviously, now that's not the case with his injury. So here's Jake Johnson. And I think Jake Johnson is going to put up big numbers. I think he's going to put up the numbers that Donovan Green would have put up had he been healthy. So I think Jake Johnson is primed for a similar season to what we saw from what we were going to see from Donovan Green. So, folks, I mean, you're allowed to be upset for Donovan Green. Obviously, we all are. I mean, I hate repeating myself, but it's just you hate it for a young man who is out here working his behind off to be a better football player every day. And I mean, obviously, I don't know Donovan personally, but he just sounds like he's a leader in the locker room, a great human being. I mean, you hate this. So, like I say, hopefully he's able to get healthy soon and be ready to rock for next season. But Jake Johnson, buddy, you got to step into a big role, and you got to step into a role. Like we talk about how, okay, Devon Achane moves on to the NFL, right? By the way, his NFL preseason debut looked pretty solid, folks. I think the only thing that's stopping the Achane train is if Dalvin Cook goes to Miami, but that's beside the point. We talk about the, replacing Devon Achane. You, of course, bring in true freshman Ruben Owens, and then you bring in Amari Daniels and Le'Veon Moss. I talked about how, they don't have a ton of experience, and they still got, Daniels had nearly 40 carries, and Moss had nearly 30 carries. So they still did get a little bit of experience last season. When you compare that to Jake Johnson, 1 reception for 2 yards. So he is really being thrown into a situation where he has got to step up for this football team. I'm not going to sit here and act like, it's completely fine. Donovan Green's gone, but Jake Johnson's going to come in and be the guy. We're going to be completely fine. I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. I liked Donovan Green and what he was going to bring to the table for Texas A&M this year. So this is an injury that I don't think, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying, well, I think these two guys are interchangeable. Obviously, we don't tough for Donovan. Hope he's doing well, but Jake Johnson's going to come in and be okay and be just fine. I think Jake Johnson's going to be good. I think he could break out, but I think what Donovan was going to do was going to be, I think he was going to put up numbers like you've never seen and turn himself to, when we flip to next year to 2024, be one of the best returning tight ends in college football. So this is an injury that, Aggie fans, we don't love. Obviously, no injury is a good injury, but Donovan Green going down, it takes away a guy who was primed to break out, plus takes away depth in a position that you have some, but then it's like, okay, let's say Jake Johnson goes down week 2, then you're getting thinner and thinner, and you don't love that. So Jake Johnson, I think he's going to be the guy. I think Theo's going to mix in there some too. Could we see some Jaden Platt? I wouldn't be surprised. But like I said, I feel pretty confident we know Max Wright's role. I don't think it changed much. I think it's going to be Jake Johnson and Theo. And I think Jake Johnson is going to put up good numbers. I think he's going to be okay. But, I wish number 18 would have been out there for the Aggies this season. And I absolutely hate that we're not going to see that. And the other takeaway here, aside from the fact that Jake Johnson has to come out and have a good season for the Aggies, is, this is a bigger picture talking point. You have to stay healthy. I get it. ACL tears are, they're freak injuries. A lot of time it's non-contact. It's the way you contacted the ground. It happens. That stuff happens. There's nothing. It's not like, a player that has a constant hamstring injury or, I always have that debate with people that talk about injuries in fantasy football. I don't like this guy because he's injury prone. To me, injury prone is hamstring, calf strain, that kind of stuff. I think the freak ankle twist and the freak ACL tear, that stuff's different. So I get it. It's not like this is happening on a day-to-day basis, but you can't be losing starters before the season starts. You have got to keep your players healthy. And I get it. Freak stuff happens. That's what happened in this case. So there's nothing you can do about it, but we have got to stay healthy and be ready to rock for week 2 against Miami. So, just no more injuries. That is going to be the name of the game. If Texas A&M wants to have a successful season on the field, you have to stay healthy. So, Donovan Green, buddy, like I said, get healthy soon. We're all praying for you here in Aggie Land. Hope you're doing all good. I know it's tough. There is a greener pasture on the other side because Donovan Green is going to be an absolute menace in 2024. And then Jake Johnson, buddy, step up. It's your time to shine. I think he's going to show us something special. So I can't wait to see what Jake Johnson is able to do with Donovan Green banged up and not able to play this season. Bobby Petrino is going to win the Broyles Award. I'm going to tell you why coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. First, I want to talk about our friends over at Nutrafol. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, clinically shown to improve your hair growth, visible thickness, and visible scalp coverage. Nutrafol, they sent me some stuff. It's a great product. I love it so far. If you have a hair thinning situation, it's stuff we all go through. It's part of life. The Nutrafol, their products are clinically proven to be able to help with it. It's an all-around great company, great product. Go give them a chance if you're dealing with any of these situations. We all go through it. It's normal. It's part of life. But like I say, the products are elite. I love them. They sent some shampoo as well. The shampoo smells amazing. This is all great stuff, and I highly recommend heading over to check it out. Take the first step to visibly thicker hair, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month's subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com/men and enter promo code LOCKEDONCollege. Find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com/men, spelled Nutrafol.com/men, and enter promo code LOCKEDONCollege. That's Nutrafol.com/men, promo code LOCKEDONCollege. Go check out Nutrafol, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you it is worth it. Great stuff. Go give them a look. You will not regret it. I promise you that. So, the Broyles Award is given to the best assistant coach in college football. I want to thank my buddies over at Saturday Down South they put out a list of 25 bold predictions. And one of their bold predictions was Bobby Petrino they actually said will be a finalist for this award. I'm going to tell you why he's going to win it. And then actually Texas A&M was listed again in that article. They were one of the other top 25 bold predictions was Texas A&M is going to have a top 4 offense in the SEC, which this goes hand in hand with the Bobby Petrino being a finalist for this award. So, I think to really speak to this, the reason that I think we're going to see such a big season from Bobby Petrino is the offensive weapons he has. Now, we're talking a lot of offense today, folks. We got a fun conversation about a debate between the Aggies and Kentucky coming up in segment 3. So a lot of offense today, which I like. I like talking about offense. But losing Donovan Green, you don't love that for Coach Petrino's offense. But look at the weapons he still has. You got Noah Thomas, Evan Stewart, Muhammed, Ainias Smith, Jaden Platt, Jake Johnson, Theo, Max Wright, Amari Daniels, Le'Veon Moss, Ruben Owens. This is a offense that is deep with weapons. Connor Wigman. I don't even think I said Connor Wigman. I didn't say your QB1. This is an offense deep with weapons, okay? So Bobby Petrino has, done a lot in his career. I'd be curious to know where he thinks this offense, just based off the talent he has in the room, would rank in his career. I mean, you got to think this is one of the best offensive, groups he's ever had, just based off the amount of stars and talent around. I mean, I don't know, I don't think he was recruiting like this back in the day. I'm sure he had some great, we know some of the players he's coached, some of that. So I get it. He's coached some players that would blow this out of the water, but I think that this offense, all in all, is one of the best he's ever coached. And we know the history behind Coach Petrino's play calling. He's one of the best play callers in college football history. I'll tell you this. Coach Petrino's been a head coach for a long time in his college football career, in his coaching career. I think that the difference from being able to just be the offensive coordinator, have the only thing that you are focused on is making the offense function. You don't got to worry about personnel on defense. You don't got to worry about, are we going to go forward on 4th and 3? Are we going to kick the field goal? You don't got to worry about the intangibles. You don't got to worry about all of those things that Coach Fisher, has to deal with. So Coach Petrino's one job is to make this offense flow, make it put up points, and I think make it one of, if not the best offenses in the SEC. And that's not an easy ask because of where it was last year. You have to improve from one of the – I mean, this is going to be a bottom to top type of transformation. You're going from one of the worst offenses in the SEC a season ago to what I think is going to be a top 4 offense in the SEC this season, strictly thanks to Coach Petrino. I mean, really, folks, I'll sit here and I'll talk about the talent on this roster, but excuse me, I cannot express what I think Coach Petrino is going to mean for this Texas A&M offense. There's something about his historic offensive mind. And, now that we know that he truly is going to be the one taking snaps, he's going to be the one calling plays, my confidence level in the success of this is skyrocketing because, there was the off-season topic, the conversation of, who's going to call plays? Is this going to lead to Coach Fisher and Coach Petrino fighting all the time? What is this going to – now that all that is put to bed, all that mumbo-jumbo is thrown away, I really think that this offense is going to take a massive leap in the right direction because we know it's Coach Petrino's offense. He's the one calling the plays. He's the one making the decisions. He's the one putting personnel aware, calling this on 2nd and 6, calling this on 3rd and 4. It's his rodeo, and I trust him to succeed in that. And I'll tell you this right now. If Coach Petrino takes this offense from one of the worst in the SEC to top 4 in the SEC, he is at least a finalist for the Broyles Award. But I think he's going to win it. I mean, just based off the fact, we know what he's going to do. We know that the history behind his name in the wonderful game of college football. I mean, and it seems like national media is starting to kind of get behind this, rally behind this as well, that Coach Petrino is going to do some special stuff for the Aggies. I just, you trust the play calling. You look at the offensive numbers. I mean, I'll talk about, he's a historic play caller, all that. But until you look at the numbers on his offenses, it's incredible. Some of the statistics, some of these yards per game, rushing yards per game. I mean, it's a balanced offense. I mean, it is just incredible what he has done throughout his career coaching, what he has done offensively. And I think he's going to take this Texas A&M offense to the top quickly. I think it's going to go from bottom, one of the worst in the country, one of the worst in the SEC, to one of the best in the SEC, one of the best in the country. I think this is a top 20, top 15 offense in college football and a top 4 offense in the SEC. What he's going to be able to do with this young talent that is now developed, Evan Stewart's a little bit older. Noah Thomas is older. You got the wily old veterans in Muhammed and Ainias Smith. You got the older Max Wright. You got some younger developing guys in Jake Johnson and Theo, the young rookie freshman in Jaden Platt, an offensive line that is primed to take a step forward under Steve Adazio. I think that Adazio has this offensive line in a position to be much better this season. I've seen some disagreement there, which is okay, and I appreciate that. But I think Adazio has this offensive line primed to take a massive step forward. I think Bryce Foster is one of the best centers in college football. The name of the game there is going to be to stay healthy. If the Aggies can stay healthy on the offensive line. Because here's the deal. I mean, I'll tell you this right now. The offensive line, this is where the magic happens. This is where everything happens. We can talk up how good Ruben Owens is going to be, how good Evan Stewart's going to be, Connor Wigman's going to be. At the end of the day, none of it matters. Nothing matters of what Coach Petrino is going to do, what these offensive weapons are going to do. If this offensive line can't create holes for Le'Veon Moss, Amari Daniels, and Ruben Owens, and can't give Connor Wigman time in the pocket, throw it out the window. None of it matters. If this offensive line truly is make or break, I think, for the entire Texas A&M football season. If this offensive line isn't successful, I think this team wins 6 or 7 games. I think it's going to be that big of a deal. It's going to be that drastic because you have the offensive weapons to shine, but the offensive line has to give them the opportunity to do that. If Reuben Owens is getting hit half a yard past the line of scrimmage every play, this is not going to be a well-oiled machine. If Connor Wigman has 2 seconds in the pocket, he's not going to be able to find Evan Stewart running wide open across the middle of the field. It's not going to happen. This offensive line has to be dominant for everything I've talked about over these last few minutes to come true. But, folks, Bobby Petrino, I think that if he takes this offense from where it was last season to where I and many others believe it's going to be this season, I think Coach Petrino can win the Broyles Award, and I think he's going to wipe away the competition if he does that. But finalist, I almost feel confident to say he's going to do that for sure. So Coach Petrino has Texas A&M's offense primed for a massive boost, better numbers, more points, which is going to lead to more wins on the field for the Aggies in 2023. SEC Mike and cousin Shane raised an interesting question. Who has the better passing attack? The Texas A&M Aggies or the Kentucky Wildcats? It's an interesting debate, but I think the Aggies take this one by a country mile. We're going to talk about that coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. Kentucky Wildcats versus the Texas A&M Aggies. This is interesting. These two teams don't really know much about each other. Kentucky has some solid offensive weapons. I have some family that live in Lexington. My papaw, who listens to my show every day, even though he is a Kentucky fan, papaw, close your ears. I am getting ready to bash your beloved wide receiver room. Okay? So don't listen. I'm going to have to call him and tell him not to listen. But they have a solid wide receiver room. Barrion Brown, Dane Key, Tavion Robinson. They have a good quarterback in the transfer, Devin Leary. They bring back the offensive coordinator, Liam Cohen, who took them to their great season 2 years ago. He leaves for the job with the Rams. That doesn't go great. I don't know how much of that was his fault, how much of that was injuries to Stafford and Cooper Kupp, but that's beside the point. This offense, this passing attack for Kentucky is going to be good. So we're going to start here on the receivers. We're going to start with receivers. We'll have the Connor Wigman, Devin Leary debate in a little bit. Wide receivers, top to bottom. Evan Stewart is a better player than Barrion Brown. Now, I will tell you this. I think that Barrion Brown is one of, if not the most underrated wide receivers in college football. Not a lot of people talk about him, and I think that is just kind of because he plays at Kentucky. If he played at Georgia or a more of a powerhouse SEC school on the football side of things, I think you would know his name. And Barrion Brown, is a guy that I think people are talking about enough. He's a good player, but he's not better than Evan Stewart. Dane Key, another good player. He was a talented true freshman last year. He's a Lexington kid, good football player, wins 50-50 balls. If you throw it within his vicinity, he's going to make the catch. But I'm taking the veterans, Moose Muhammed and Ainias Smith over Dane Key, and I can confidently tell you their third option, Tavion Robinson. I'll take Noah Thomas, Moose Muhammed, and Ainias Smith over him. So what I'm getting at here is Kentucky has great receivers. They do. They have a solid room of wide receivers, but it is not as good as Texas A&M's wide receiver room. You could make the argument, let's say Texas A&M has the number 7 wide receiver room in the country. I could be convinced that Kentucky has the number 11 wide receiver room in the country. It's a great room. It is. I mean, I'm not out here bashing. I'm not bashing saying that their passing attack is going to be awful. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Texas A&M's is just better. So but like I said, Cousin Shane and SEC Mike had this conversation on their podcast, it was really interesting. When I heard it, I was like, I need to bring this on my show. It's an interesting question to raise. But and now so I think where you could argue Kentucky has the advantage is with the quarterback. I think Texas A&M has the advantage when it comes to the receivers. I think they have an advantage when it comes to the offensive coordinator. I would say that Texas A&M had an advantage in the tight end room. Losing Donovan Green, I planned to do this when Donovan Green was still healthy. So that I think it's more of a toss-up now than it was then, but I still think I'm taking Max Johnson. I'm sorry, Jake Johnson, not his brother. I don't think Max Johnson's going to be a great tight end. I think I'm taking Jake Johnson over the guys they got over there, Caddis, Upshaw. I mean, I'm taking those guys. I think Upshaw's still there, but I'm taking Jake Johnson and Theo over those guys. And like I said, not any bashing to Kentucky and their team. They have a great team. Good for them. It's good to see a team that's generally not a football powerhouse succeeding of late. So not hating on Kentucky. Have a lot of friends that are Kentucky fans and family that's Kentucky fans. But I think that the only way you can really have a debate here is the quarterback room. Devin Leary, I think, is a guy who is right now better than Connor Wigman. Like right now, as I record this, right now, I would take Devin Leary over Connor Wigman just because he's a good quarterback who's played a lot of college football. But I think by the end of the season, this could be a different story. And by the end of the season, this could be a completely different conversation based on the fact that Connor Wigman, I think, is going to have that sophomore jump where he explodes onto the scene and puts up massive numbers. This is an interesting question, though, folks. Like I said, I'm taking the Aggies. I think if you had to look at it, I would go Texas A&M has the advantage at the receiver room and at the offensive coordinator. I think it's a toss-up in the tight end room, and I think the quarterback, I'd give Kentucky a slight advantage. So I think Texas A&M wins this debate 2-1. So, but let me know in the comments. Do you think that Kentucky is going to have a better passing attack than the Aggies? I think that the Aggies will have a better passing attack than the Kentucky Wildcats. Let me know in the comments. It is an interesting debate between two talented passing attacks. So let me know in the comments what you think. But that is going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Aggies. I hope everybody has a great rest of your day tomorrow. Once again, Donovan Green, buddy, heal up. We're all praying for you. We love you here at Locked On Aggies. Hope you're doing good. You're going to be back better and stronger than ever. But like I said, folks, that is going to do it. Have a great rest of your day today, and we will see you tomorrow.